Hello, this is a review of this, the IK Multimedia iClip AV, which is one of those little handy devices you get to improve your video filming on your smartphone. You've probably seen similar sort of things to this before. There are hordes of little brackets and grips you can get. You put your phone in, it allows you to hold it more steadily while you're filming. But this one does have a little trick up its sleeve in that not only can you hold the phone more steadily, but also on the side here, you've got a nice high quality audio preamp with a professional balanced XLR socket on it, so you can plug in professional grade audio accessories and in that way get nice sound as well as nice pictures, because of course a lot of these smartphones, they do absolutely marvelous video recording these days, but the audio, shocking. The microphone on the camera on the smartphone is this tiny little thing, no wind jammer over it, it's miles away from whoever you're filming. They sound dreadful, so you want to plug in a decent mic. Well, this thing allows you to do just that. Let me show you what you actually get in the box. Essentially, it is all this. Comes as several parts which you just assemble. Very straightforward. There's this main frame here. This cable plugs in here, and then that end plugs into your mobile phone. This clip here holds your mobile phone in the bracket. It is sprung. Let me show you that side. So you just put your phone in there, clamp it down, and it holds the phone securely. You've got this little extra bracket on the end that just slides into place here. I'll come back to that in a second. And then on the end here, you've got this main grip. So the idea is you hold it like that, phone here, looking that way, or I suppose looking this way if you're doing selfies. You plug the mic in to the headphone jack, which gives you that audio input. And then on the top here, you've got this XLR socket into which you can plug balanced mono XLR sources. And you might be thinking, hold on, what's this mono nonsense? I want stereo. Well, bad luck, your phone doesn't give you stereo inputs anyway. They've always got stereo outputs for your headphones, but the microphone input on these things is always mono, so you are kind of limited. Anyway, there's your XLR input, and on the back here, you've got some controls. So for example, at the top here, a little thumb wheel gives you an input gain, so you can maximize the signal before you then fire it into your phone, and in that way turn down the input on the phone. So this is doing as much of the preamplification as possible, and your phone is doing as little as possible, and that should give you the cleanest possible signal. You've also got a little indicator. That one there just shows you the whole thing is switched on. The one below that shows that you are sending 48 volts phantom power, because certain microphones, like for example this one, like to have 48 volts shoved up their backsides in order to make them work. You'll find that with a lot of professional mics, and this can supply it from the two little AA cells. It comes with these two batteries, and with that it powers the preamp, and also, as I say, shoves the 48 volts if you want it up into the microphone. Little switch here just toggles between off, on, and on plus 48 volts. And then at the bottom there, you can possibly just see there's a 3.5mm headphone jack, so you can actually listen to what you're doing while you record. I'll come back to that in a second as well. So the gist of this, like most other smartphone mounts, is you put your phone in and you can then hold it nice and steady while you are filming something, and because it's got this audio amplifier in it, you can now plug in professional accessories, like for example this kind of mic. That's a Rode, isn't it? I think that's a Rode NTG2. I've also tried plugging in my Sennheiser ME66, and you just get an XLR cable, plug it in there. I have consulted with IK Multimedia. They assure me this is properly debalanced. They don't just clip one of the cables and send the unbalanced signal through to the phone. They say it is a proper debalanced input, which means you get the benefits of balancing, which is less noise being picked up by the microphone cable. That's the whole point of why you have balanced microphones. So, oh, and this, I did say I'd come back to this. This bracket is designed so that you can clip on radio mic receivers. Normally, actually I don't know if I can show you because I'm wearing my radio mic receiver, but I'll stand up and you can possibly see it's clipped here to my pocket, and the idea is that you just clip it on like that. So I'll just clip that back into my pocket again. There we go. So obviously you don't have to have a wired microphone. You can plug in your wireless receiver and take the output of that into that as well. So a good little solution for filming on the go, and I can certainly see this has applications for video journalists, obviously newspaper journalists who are also told increasingly these days to go and film some stuff for the newspaper website, or filmmakers. A lot of people trying to make films on smartphones these days. There's quite an art to it, and with this you will get decent audio as well as your smartphone pictures. Now this bit is metal. I'm presuming aluminium because it feels sturdy but also light. And then the handle bit is plastic. Yeah, again, feels fairly sturdy. You probably don't want to go around dropping it, but then it has got all the electronics inside it, so you wouldn't really want to drop it anyway. I don't think that'll break. If anything breaks, you're more likely to break the little battery door than anything else. And it is bolted through to the frame with two good solid, I don't know if they're plastic, I have a feeling they are plastic bolts, but anyway, it feels fairly sturdy. So the big question is, how does it work, of course? Well, in terms of clamping the phone, it's like many of these other things. It clamps your phone, it goes up to, hold on, let me just find out. I'm sure it says on the box, but I might as well measure it. It goes up to phones of about 9 centimetres, perhaps a millimetre under 9 centimetres tall. Call it 8.9, 8.8 centimetres tall. So it won't hold an iPad, but it will hold, I would imagine, most phones. And then you've got the audio side. I tell you what, I'll play in here a test recording that I've done on it. This is a test recording using the IK Multimedia iClip AV. I'm using a Sennheiser ME66 microphone, which is being phantom powered using the 48 volts from the iClip AV, and I'm recording into an app on my iPad mini. So that was actually recorded into my iPad mini because it was the only device I happened to have handy for the test, and I think it sounded very good. Your audio quality, I suppose, inevitably will depend to a degree on the quality of the phone you're using. You know, this one will do the best it can and give you as good a sound level as it can, and if you're careful with your sound levels on this and careful with your sound levels on the phone, you'll get the best sound. But you are always slightly limited by the recording device, which is the phone. But again, that said, most of them these days, if you give them a good input signal, they sound perfectly decent, and certainly decent enough either for a bit of mobile journalism, or if you are trying to shoot for a film, decent enough that will give you probably an acceptable soundtrack, and at the very least a very good quality scratch track which you could sync up separate audio with later. Let me come to a few things that I would like to see improved, because I do have some suggestions. I like the product, but I have some suggestions. First of all, this hand grip I think is at a funny angle, because when you're holding it, it's tilted so much that way that your arm ends up out here. And I think if you're trying to hold your phone steady, you want your arms clutched into your body to hold the whole rig steady, in which case this, it's got your wrist round at a funny angle. I think it needs to turn that way a bit more. I mean, you could sort of hold it like that, but now you're filming something over there instead of something in front of you. So this either needs to swivel, or they just need to manufacture it with the handle turned round a bit, because I would want to be holding the whole thing firm against my body with my elbows dug into me, in which case this is at the wrong angle. I also think this could be sculpted a little more for your hand. It's fairly flat. It's not unpleasant to grip. I think it could do with a little bit more sculpting to fit the shape of your fingers, and I'd like a little bit of non-slip plastic or something on here just to make it feel a little bit more firm in your grip. I think my other major gripe about this actually is the weird place that they've put the XLR socket. It's up here in this little canyon, and when you're doing mobile journalism, and I know this because I was a journalist, you don't just go out when it's nice weather. Sometimes you have to go out when it's raining. Does it not look to you like that is going to catch the rain and the water's going to go down into the XLR socket? It does to me. It wouldn't have to be a lot, just a few drops, but you're standing there, it's starting to chuck it. This is going to catch the rain, and then it's all going to go down into the socket and ruin your electronics. I find that a very odd place to have put it. Apart from anything else, the cable is going to come up out of here and then down to wherever your microphone is. Okay, if you've got the radio mic attachment here, it's only going to loop a little way, but if you are using one of these, your cable is going to be going up and around. I just think this either needs to be turned through 90 degrees so that the socket is protected a bit from the elements, or even come out on the bottom so that when the wire goes off, it's going, because if you're holding the mic, you're going to be holding the mic in that hand, holding this in that hand, in which case the wire needs to come out to the mic, and it needs to come out the bottom or out the side. But on the top, I find that very strange. And I think that's probably my biggest critique of that, is the weird positioning there. On the upside, I don't think you will accidentally knock the controls while you hold this. I did worry that the position of the gain control might be knocked by your fingers or your thumb, but on reflection, I don't think you will. One other point that's worth mentioning is that when you plug headphones in, the app you're using to record must provide real-time monitoring of what you're recording. Otherwise, you don't hear anything in the headphones. In other words, the headphone jack here is not monitoring the output of the preamp, it's monitoring what's coming out of the phone. So if your phone isn't sending what it's recording straight back out of its headphone jack, you hear nothing. And okay, there are some apps that do provide that feedback, but the first one I was recording on, it wasn't. And it was only when I played the file back that the app played it back through the headphone jack. So that was a bit disconcerting. I would like a little switch on here, just a similar size switch to that, so you could toggle between monitoring the output of the preamp, regardless of what the phone is doing, or monitoring off the phone so that you get that confidence that you're listening to what is actually being recorded. The other thing I'd like to mention is that, for example, again, the mic pack I'm wearing is the Rode Wireless Link system, and its output from the receiver is not an XLR, it's 3.5mm jack, ordinary jack. Well, I can mount the receiver, but unless I've got, and it doesn't come with it, unless I happen to then have the 3.5mm to XLR plug, I wouldn't be able to plug it in. So I think it would be worth, on a version 2 of this, if IK Multimedia also throw in, just next to this, a little 3.5mm jack for things like the Rode wireless system, because I think a lot of people looking at buying this could also be looking at buying that Rode wireless system, in which case they'll want to plug it in without having to then buy another accessory. While we're on the subject of Rode gear, which typically is in the price ballpark that would match up with someone buying this, one other little improvement I think could definitely go on this would be just a basic cold shoe that you could plug something like this, the old Rode Video, which one is this? The Video Mic something or other, Video Mic Pro, because not everyone is going to want to use a fully pro XLR mic or a radio mic pack, but still want to use this kind of bracket with its good audio amplifiers. It would be nice if you could take one of those and, well, I suppose probably pop it there actually. If you move the XLR socket round, that could go nicely on top. If they make it swivelable so you can point it at whatever you're filming, and then have the 3.5mm jack for that to go in there, I think that would be a useful improvement as well, because a lot of people have these and they go quite well with smartphone filming where you don't need the big paraphernalia of the pro mics. What else do I think? I suppose if I'm getting really picky here, and this is getting really picky, this of course is the TRRS connector designed to plug into a mobile phone, but IK Multimedia do make a thing of the fact that if you unscrew the phone bit, you can put a camcorder on here. And if you want to plug that into a camcorder, it's the wrong type of connector, so you have to then run through another little converter cable. I would like to see them include, because it would only cost a few pennies, a cable that goes from here to a standard 3.5mm jack, and then you could plug a camcorder in straight away without any hassles. Let's come to some conclusions then. This is fairly sturdy, well made. It's got good sound quality. It's a good concept. it will accommodate most mobile phones. I like the fact that it's got this bracket that you can put the wireless receiver on if you have a wireless receiver. I like the fact that it's got a nice, good quality XLR balanced audio preamp. I like the fact it's got headphone monitoring. But I would like to see the little changes I've mentioned in the review if they bring out a Mark II version, because I think that would make it substantially better, even though I say so myself. The other final thing I'll mention on this is the price. It's selling here in the UK for around £160, which is a bit steep, I have to say. I think in the States it's $180, and even that's a bit pricey. I think the price needs to come down. Again, that said, the kind of people who are buying this for professional use, the journalists who are going out there, issued these by their editor to go and shoot stuff, that won't be an issue. But if you are an enthusiast smartphone filmer, you might well be put off by the price a bit. So, bit cheaper, make some little tweaks to the design, and it will get 10 out of the 10. At the moment, I'm going to give it, I don't normally do ratings, but I think I will this time. I think I'm going to give it a 6 to 7 out of 10. Good product, but could be made better. Oh, and I should also add, by the way, that yes, IK Multimedia did send this to me, but they don't insist I say anything specific about it. It's all my own opinions, as you can probably tell from me saying, well, I want this changed and I want this changed. So they are good like that, and I trust companies that are happy to send out products for a completely genuine review. So kudos to IK Multimedia, and thanks to them for sending this to me. I'll put links in the description below if you would like to buy one of these, and thank you as always for watching. Put any questions down below and I'll do my best to answer. Cheers now, bye bye.